Oh, hello there. Welcome to another episode of Star Wars Minute. It's your daily podcast in which we analyze, we scrutinize, and we celebrate the rise of Skywalker 1 minute at a time. I'm Alex Robinson from alexrobinson.fun.
I'm Pete the Retailer from PeteTheRetailer.fun.
I'm Tim Barnes from TimBarnesComedy.com, I guess.
And I'm Jim Fagan from Jim-Fagan.com. There's a hyphen because the other guy who got the website in like 97 won't give it up. I've asked.
Wow.
He said no.
You should just make that your nickname now, Dash.
Oh, yeah.
That's a cool nickname.
Dash Fagan.
Yeah.
So we're just going to call you Dash.
Rendar Fagan. That's me.
Well, thanks for joining us this week. We are going to discuss minute 31 of The Rise of Skywalker. Minute 31 starts off with the gang drawing a bead on a flying stormtrooper. I'm never going to get used to saying that. A flying stormtrooper.
They fly.
Whatever.
Yep.
And it ends a minute later with Snap Wexley being reprimanded for being a buzzkill. And then he says, it will be a blank. Ends on a cliffhanger. So tomorrow we will play the match game and we will all reveal what we think Snap's going to say.
Wait, it will be. Hang on. It
will be?
It's going to be blank.
Okay, it's going to be blank.
Hang on. I gotta refer to the sacred text here and see what the.
I just thought that there's multiple scenes where General Leia is just standing in the same space in this movie.
Right. Which
I tried so hard not to think of her as like a cardboard cutout of Leia at a 7-Eleven that you walk past and she delivers a line to, but it just feels a little bit that way.
My name is Chad.
They should do it like Clutch Cargo style, where they just have her standing there and then just CGI some lips on the moving lips. You know?
Or low budget, just have somebody stick their lips through the cardboard cutout and be like,
yeah. Only if it's Billy Lord. That's the only way it will be respectful. Right. Anyone else, it would be terrible.
So according to the novelization, which I'm holding in my hands, he said, this is.
This is.
So this is.
Okay. According to the
this is.
I love that is, you're not just looking at the clip. You're like, let me figure out what.
It's literally the sacred text.
Yeah.
So it's this is. So we're gonna hang on to that. Let's bring that back. If you guys can come back tomorrow, we're gonna compare our answers.
Brilliant.
But for now, I think let's talk about this minute.
Well, I'm actually going to start by mentioning something from last minute.
Great.
You guys weren't here, but the last minute ended with their speeder thing they're on getting blown up and the gang being hurled. What has to be 150 feet in the air.
Yeah. And
I was like, well, obviously this is the end of it because there's no way a person could survive. Maybe 3PO could maybe survive it, but it seems like
I bet Chewie could survive.
You think so?
I like this. We eliminate, something dangerous to eliminate the humans, and then we get 3PO, BB-8, and Chewie on an adventure. I'm like, oh, that's a little better.
I'm on board.
It would be incredible.
That would be, if only the droids fell at the bottom.
Twist.
Right. And at the end of the whole saga, it's just like all the humans are dead in the galaxy for some reason. They initiate something, and it's just like, oh,
all of these humans are dead.
Through those coffee grinds, but it's about a 25-minute journey through them. So the humans have all suffocated by the time they plop out the bottom.
This is a section of the movie where there's just like plot twist after plot twist after plot twist after plot twist. It's insane.
Yeah.
Yeah.
When I was going through sending you guys the clips of the minutes, and I was like, I saw them sinking into the sand. I was like, well, they can't be sinking into the sand. They were just in the speeder bike chase like a minute ago. They couldn't have wrapped it up that quickly. And lo and behold, efficient storytelling, they call that.
When you were sending us the minutes and I opened the first minute, I was like, oh man, this is great. It's so close to the giant worm, which I love. I hope we get to talk about the giant worm this week. And I don't know of course with this movie, we make it to the giant worm. It's like everything, it's fast, man. You gotta just buckle up and hang on, or you're going to get thrown 150 feet through the air.
This movie will age excellently for the TikTok generation. Like, it's just a number of just like excellently shot Star Wars TikToks.
It's a Quibi movie.
It really is perfect for minute by minute watching because each one's like its own little self-contained story. So, anyway, luckily the gang does survive being hurled, and they seem to be relatively unharmed, thankfully.
Yes, they've landed on some very soft sand. Very
is
soft.
It explained in the movie, or is it just like this happens to be a quicksand area of Pisana, right? Yeah.
Yes. Oh, well, I think. Well, first of all, it reminds me. You ever see the when they put artificial turf? Sometimes they do artificial turf now, and it's actually like kind of a woven net of fake grass on top of ground up old tires.
This sounds like J.J. Abrams pitching this idea for the movie.
Yeah. Thrown up in the air every tackle and slide. That's right.
Exactly. So that's what this made me think of, except bigger chunks of that. So maybe these are all old tires. This is where they just throw all their old tires, all the people of Pisana, the festival.
Yeah.
If you're looking for proof that we are living in a dystopia, it could be that all the trees are gone and it's been replaced by chopped up rubber tires with green netting on top.
Mm-hmm.
It's funny
that's
because
where we play now.
So on our Star Wars podcast, Yub Nub, Tim and I did the behind the scenes of Rise of Skywalker. We watched the behind the scene, and so this whole pile is coffee beans, and I can't unsee coffee beans now when I look. It just looks like somebody like when you see like on Twitter like a truck has had a terrible accident and now there's coffee beans everywhere, like the Simpsons episode with the sugar. It just looks like there was an industrial spill of coffee beans in the desert to me now. And I'm like,
it's part of a grand Star Wars tradition, though, because some of the asteroids in Empire were just potatoes, like the really distant ones.
There you go.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
They've always been a very organic green production process in Star Wars. So it's good that they're keeping that
That explains
going.
the worms, I guess.
Yeah.
That's how you get worms.
Well, so before we get to the worm scene, though, we still have this last lingering stormtrooper flying around up in the air there, and that has to be the dumbest tactician on this guy. I know. I'll fly one lone target over those 5 people up there. It's like pull.
It really does seem like these are the first. Like, this is like the beta test for these flying stormtroopers. Their first time ever using it.
Let me in representative of the defense here. He is a stormtrooper and his leader, therefore, his supreme leader right now is Kylo Ren. Kylo Ren is obsessed with Darth Vader. How did Darth Vader become Darth Vader? Because he didn't have the high ground.
Oh,
so this stormtrooper is just like, these guys are down here. Let me get the high ground.
Are you a lawyer?
I'm the lawyer for this movie so far this season.
I love because what you've just made me picture is stormtrooper training, and like a TV gets wheeled in, and it's Kylo Ren like shows up, and he's like, "Let's talk about higher ground." And it's just part of the basic training. I love it.
With the mask on, like, let's talk about higher ground.
I just put it back on.
Shouldn't have gotten those Tesla jetpacks.
Well, that's the other thing. They conveniently they hit the jetpack and then he goes flying off and collides into a thing. But if they had hit the actual stormtrooper, like would he? I'm assuming there's some kind of like dead man switch or something. Otherwise, that jetpack would have just kind of kept flying with a dead guy on it for a while. Like that. There's that thing that somebody posted about.
Sight gag.
Yeah. Just wow. People go cut back to the festival and everybody's like dancing and they just look up and there's like a dead stormtrooper flying by. Yeah.
The more we talk about this, the more I almost demand at this point that Star Wars release a comic about this particular stormtrooper in the jetpack. Because I just would you never think about what it's like when they go home to their partners, and they just say like, anything interesting happened at work today? And you're the guy whose jetpack got flung around on Pisana.
Yeah. I know we get sick of all this. Oh, did you know that stormtrooper is really Prince Harry? Did you know that stormtrooper is James Bond? This stormtrooper actually played by Wile E. Coyote. Because he goes into like ashes.
And because, it's Warner Brothers, Disney kind of a thing, that's he had to go uncredited.
That explains the freeze frame where he looks into the lens and says it's a living or something.
Yeah. He just raises a picket sign that says
a help sign.
Ouch. Yeah.
But luckily he's back to normal next scene, so he'll be okay.
Right, yeah. New sounds from this guy as he's flying around. We like the Star Wars sounds, but every once in a while they mix in new ones, and this one is very. It is a little cartoony. It is a little maybe
it's a very prequel moment. in a good way.
Yeah.
So when I was looking at this guy flying through the air, I couldn't help but think of Moff Gideon's flying dark troopers that we just saw in Mandalorian at the end of this previous season, and how they were so much more effective battlers than these flying stormtroopers were. But I guess the technology went down with him, so, you know.
Yeah.
That guy was our last hope.
Yeah.
I do wish they repeated the they fly now now lines in that Mandalorian episode just for some good synergy.
People would have loved
that.
That would have been
nice. Or what if we had, if we gave, let's say, I don't know, Poe, like a Schwarzenegger-ian line here where there's like they fly now, and then they go through the whole thing, and then he shoots him and he explodes into the thing. It's like they die now.
Perfect.
Hey, Lucasfilm, are you looking for like a punch-up room? Because we're on fire here.
I think we got something. Yeah.
Now we can move on to the sinking sands of Pisana. The sinking sand. This is the second time we've seen on Jakku, if you recall, there were also sinking sands. And J.J. Abrams stopped trying to make sinking sands a thing. It's not going to be a thing. It doesn't make any sense, these sinking sand pits.
Well, so in the novelization,
oh my God.
specifically, Rey is just like, oh, sinking sands. I can't believe I fell for that. Like, I should have known. She like blames. She's like, we had these on Jakku.
Wait, really?
Like, they lampshaded a little bit. Yeah.
Yeah.
She was like, I should have known that this, like, you know, I should have been aware of this kind of thing.
Sands tend to sink. Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow. Is there any are all the novelizations written by the same person, or is it just like a really diligent writer who's like, you know what, I can connect a few dots here?
I think, for the most part, they tend to grasp at whatever dots they can connect.
Nice.
And this book came out after the movie, correct?
Around the same time. I know it was concurrent. A lot of the times it's like written concurrently so they can have it out ready to go when the movie comes out, or sometimes before the movie comes out. But
I feel like one of the recent ones came out like 2 months after the movie, and I was like, because they had to hear what all the nerds were complaining about, and like, okay, these are all the things we have to address in the book.
Certain things came out.
That's
after
a really
this movie,
good plan.
Like the reveal that it wasn't. It's what's happening in this movie is that Palpatine's clone son is who is Rey's father, not because everyone's like, wait, who did Palpatine have sexual relations with someone? And it turns out, canonically, there's no proof.
I'm pure. I've never been tainted.
Is that in this book, or is it from something else that information came out?
I'm just reading along with where we are.
Okay.
So I don't know. But
no, I think that's in Shadow of the Sith. I think that's where we find out we get more one-on-one time with Rey's parentage, and we learn so much about Ochi, but I don't want to get ahead of myself.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. We've got some Ochi coming up.
I will say, since we're on Quicksand, I've worked on a lot of different reality TV shows, or adjacently, because I've been in development at reality TV companies. And there was one show that we were making at a company I was at about 6 years ago, and the showrunner desperately wanted Quicksand for the show and was angrily yelling at the producers, call places in like Florida and find quicksand. And literally scientists were being like, that's not real. Like, that doesn't exist.
Yeah. Have you ever heard of coffee beans?
Yeah, what you want is a giant hole in a soundstage and a bunch of coffee beans.
Right.
That's what you're looking for. And some
Now we know
rubber
what Pisana smells
chopped up
like.
tires.
Yeah.
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 I would love Pisana now that you're saying that.
it'd be great if they're all like super hyper awake in the next couple of scenes. They're like, yeah, whoa, what's going on? Where are we?
Did you already talk? I'm sorry to backtrack, but did you already talk about, or have you brought up
Solo?
Who is the people who are underneath the outfits of the dancing people of Pisana? Have you mentioned that?
No.
This is another
You have some
gem
dirt?
from behind the scenes of this movie, and they are Jordanian soldiers.
Soldiers.
Dancing. Yes.
Wow.
Just a little nugget of fun.
That's where they could find the sheer numbers, I feel like, of people who would also listen to exactly what they were asking to do.
Everybody do a dance or else.
Yeah.
Well, if you have to be a Jordanian soldier, I imagine this is a pretty cushy gig. So, and now they can hit the convention circuit too. Like, I was Basanian number 8. So,
right.
So, since this is sort of the landing point of this action sequence, right? This is like the exhale moment. So, how did it's been kind of a controversial action sequence overall. Like, there was a lot of people who didn't like that they fly now, the flying stormtroopers. I thought the whole thing was a good time. I think that they're trying so hard in this movie to have the 3 main heroes have adventure time together rather than your traditional split them up and spread them out. And that's a lot of what this sequence is meant to be, right? Like, let's just get them all in the muck together. I don't know. So I think it's a fun accomplishment of that. And we do get a spectacular firework crash ending at the at the end of it. So I'm curious to hear what you guys think.
It all ends with a big explosion.
Yeah, exactly.
It's just ultimately to me it's just so funny that like all this action happens and then they land and like, oh no, it's quicksand, and they start
out of the frying pan into the coffee beans.
They should have probably extended the scene, like the talking bit, like longer here, because it's an odd cutaway. The end of this minute, we have a couple of things to talk to you still, but it's odd that the end of this minute it just kind of cuts away to a kind of unimportant scene with Leia and Snap, and then cuts back, so we have like just so we get kind of time passing here, which there shouldn't really be. Like you said, they can't be down there they can't be in the coffee beans for like 20 minutes.
Right.
BB-8 and C-3PO could.
Yeah,
so
you're right. They should have split screened it so that we could see what is happening at this exact moment on the Rebel base.
It actually kind of feels like it runs in real time, right? Like the amount of time it takes to cut over and hear Leia being like, "Could you not be such a buzzkill, man? Like all the time."
Here comes Snap. I love he's like the Dwight Schrute of the Rebels.
Everybody's probably dead. Well, I have stuff. I have it for tomorrow, but I have more information about Snap's message there. But
there's definitely more to talk about with the coffee beans.
Yeah, there is.
There's a pretty big.
Finn is trying to say something here.
Well, before that, we see Poe, and he goes, "Come on!" Like he's like Joe Bluth falling into the coffee beans before he sings. He doesn't seem to be taking the threat very seriously. He's just like, "Oh, another inconvenience that I have to."
Yeah, first he's like, "What the hell is this?" Like, quicksand? Seriously? Like he should be like, again, going back to Looney Tunes. It should be like Duck Amuck, where he's just like looking at the JJ being like, "Come on, quicksand, really?" Like as he sinks slowly.
Yeah, this is Poe Dameron's very bad, no good day or something. Like
exactly.
Woke up on the wrong side of the bed this morning.
But yes,
I remember the
Finn,
actors. Oh no, I'm sorry. I was just saying, I remember the actors saying they were literally terrified shooting this moment, that they had to like really sink through this stuff into nothingness, and that it's like a very unnatural, terrifying feeling that they described going through. So everything we're seeing in here, where they're like panicking and like gasping for air as they go under, that's JJ being like, yeah, you'll be fine. Get in.
But how
get
did
in
they?
there.
It's just sand.
How did they get like it? I imagine they dug a big hole, put a bunch of coffee beans in there. But is that how it works? If I stood on there, I would just sink in, or isn't it just kind of like standing on a bunch of like sand?
Do you remember,
really?
Tim?
I don't
Do you
remember, but
how
I'm trying to imagine how you would.
Was there someone like under pulling their legs or something?
Like Jaws?
Or like a scuba diver or something.
They did something so that they would really sink down into it and that it would happen slowly.
Yeah.
And I'm trying to remember what they did to it. Exactly. If it was like
I'm sure there's some digital coffee
netting.
beans to get the swirl to look just right, but
yeah.
I guess what you could do is you dig the hole, you put people down like underneath, you put like a platform over them with a hole in it, pour the coffee beans in, have the actors stand over the hole, and then gradually lower them down into the hole with the other people.
Something like that. Yeah.
Okay.
It actually might be, I think that, it's a lowering platform or something of that nature. I think you're right. Yeah, it's a lot. They did a lot of stage magic to pull this off.
Well, I like that they put in that effort for something that's literally a 30-second sequence. You know, they easily could have gotten rid of this whole chunk, but
and it's not just like the whole thing is, it's so much action in order to uncover so much plot, like happening almost concurrently. So it's a lot. It's a lot to take in.
Yeah, I mean, they could have, like, if they're on the run from stormtroopers, they could have just run into a cave, and then that's where they find all what they're about to. But instead, we had to throw in this, like,
no,
no,
gotta go big.
They successfully avoid the stormtroopers and then sink into quicksand, and then they find, like, it's like, okay.
The only way I can make everything that happens on Pisana make sense is that the Force was guiding them to the coffee beans, right?
That's right.
It's too convenient to just happen to land on the coffee
I have Harrison
beans.
Ford in my head going, that's not how the Force works.
I think the serpent was luring them in because it was like, oh, I need a medic. Calling all Jedi.
Beep, 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 beep. I do like the idea that it's Finn's latent kind of force abilities, so that he was just like, really, you know, he was sleepy and kind of like out of it, and he's like, man, I wish they had coffee here at this crazy festival. But like his force abilities are coming through. It's like, coffee over here.
Now, refresh my memory. Is it revealed in this movie that so this is the moment where Finn is saying, I want to tell you something, and then they fall in before he can finish it. But is it revealed
told you.
in this movie that what he wants to tell?
the end.
At the end, okay.
No,
not?
they don't say it in the movie, I don't think, at all.
They have to.
I remember this being like one of the big things that kind of had me confused. Like, is he saying, everyone thought like he was saying, I love you or something. And then we found out like, no, he was going to tell her that he thinks he feels the Force sometimes.
I could swear that that's in the end of the movie.
No, you would think so. You would think that they would have to do, that's like
I can't decide which is worse, having it in the movie or not having it in the movie, because I really hate it. I really hate it.
It's not that he loves her?
No.
It's
that he has the Force.
I disagree.
That's something. If I was dying,
I'm going to take my power as a viewer. Yeah, I'm going to take my power as a viewer to be like, nope, sorry, creators. That's not what he means.
Well, and that's the beauty of not putting it in there.
Yeah.
It could be something else if you feel.
But if
mystery box.
This is a really weird moment to want to say that specific thing to Rey. That's the only thing.
It's the perfect moment to be like, I've always been in love with you. It's the only moment to say something of that nature.
Yeah, not the best moment
unless
to say,
he was.
I'm Force sensitive.
Was he going to say, I have the Force? Is there anything I can do to lift out of this coffee? These coffee?
Right.
Yeah, why can't Rey lift them out, actually, now that you mentioned it?
Yeah, oh my goodness. Yeah. The
Rey can't just go and float everybody?
Moments away from her grabbing a
not to be
spaceship.
that guy, but also in here,
They
in
explain?
the novelization, she says, like, I should have used the Force. Like, I'm stupid.
Wait, is that true?
Rey's always the one covering up plot holes.
She's kicking herself as she kind of sinks through the coffee to be like, I should have used the Force, and I should have known sinking sands. Like, and this is how we're all going to die. Is not through the not by getting chased down by the Empire, but just by a stupid natural phenomenon.
Well, a big thing
like,
about
got
using
me
the
after
Force is clearing your mind. And how are you going to clear your mind with Finn constantly trying to confess something to you?
Yeah. I mean, the movie did start with Rey like having swirls of rocks hovering around her. So okay, this is backtracking to the previous movie, but I feel like there's a major plot hole because they get to the salt planet and they're following the crystal critters, and there's a blockage of rocks, and they rely on Rey to move the rocks. But on the other side of that, you've got Princess General Leia, who's already proven that she's Force capable enough to float through space. So could General Leia not have moved those rocks with the Force just like Rey?
I think the idea is that really took almost everything out of her.
Got it. Okay.
That's eventually, spoiler alert, she dies later with minimal encouragement, and I think it's basically lingering like that trip into outer space and the return to the cockpit. Almost killed her, and so she's like not.
She's only bought herself
enough to do
time, not really. That makes there you go.
That makes sense. Yeah, okay. I just want to make sure. I just want to check in with my fellow Star Wars thinkers to see if they're, I
gotta say, I'm uncomfortable being in this position of the no prize guy with the Star Wars stuff, but I've fallen into it with this movie, and I'm kind of, I don't know. Am I going to like it by the end? Am I going to be one of those like, no, you have to watch, this cartoon and read this novelization? Obviously, the Ozenbaum. I'm going to be like, oh, okay.
Yeah, so then when they all disappear under the sand into the coffee beans, there's just kind of like a lingering shot for like 5 seconds of just the field. And somebody has to do a thing where it just says directed by J.J. Abrams, because that's how they all died.
Awesome. Yeah, it's roll credits. Ray, I never told you, roll credits.
I guess it's up to Snap, Rose Tico, and Claude to save the day.
I'd watch that movie too. Maybe not Snap. I'm not so into Snap, but what's his name? Beaumont Kin, the not Benny's boat hobbit. He's,
Mary?
Yeah.
Have you guys ever seen the guy who it's like online, the guy who got to Toy Story 3 before his family watched it and cut the ending so that the credits rolled as they enter the fire incinerator so that his whole family thought the toys had burned alive.
Wow.
See, that's what you could do in this moment here. They're just sitting in the sand and then just the credits roll. And
I did hear your theory, Pete, that if we split this movie into 2 movies, that it ultimately would have potentially had a better taste to it, for lack of a better
a better pace. We were talking about this last week. Yeah. I think that's really smart and really true.
I think just because trying to do kind of 2 things at once, like wrap up the saga and wrap up the trilogy, and if you had just given each one of those wrap-ups room to breathe, maybe, I don't know if it would have been better. It would have been interesting to see. I want to look into that parallel universe.
I was thinking about that for this movie, and it got me, and this is impossible because I'm sure like the whole Palpatine thing kind of came up with the J.J. Abrams of it all. But if The Last Jedi ended with the mysterious message of Palpatine as a sort of cliffhanger at the end, everyone would have been talking about that in the build up to this, and I think there would have been smooth sailing more than the result was. I think.
I think J.J. Abrams should do a special edition of The Last Jedi where it more.
There you go.
So it jibes.
I mean, I completely agree, and yet I'm torn because I personally feel like The Last Jedi has the ending I love more than any other Star Wars movie. But I mean, I guess you could have both in this world of Star Wars doesn't do a post-credit scene, but there's a lot that Star Wars doesn't do that Star Wars has decided to do anyway. So you could have kind of had your cake and eaten it too, I guess. Yeah.
I just think it would be interesting
add in
because Kylo seems to be following the same path of his grandpa, who just continually got screwed over throughout his entire life.
His grandpa.
So if Kylo finally becomes supreme leader at the end of The Last Jedi, and then right after that finds out that Sidious is still alive and basically like becomes somehow his apprentice at the end of that movie, it just continues the Skywalker theme of getting schooled by an old man. The same old man. Yeah, the same old man.
There was another thing I thought would be insane outside the box marketing, but Palpatine sends a random message to like the galaxy, right? Just make that the first teaser, man. Just like
galaxy.
Send it out to right, exactly. I heard you guys talking about that. He just spams everyone's inbox.
I didn't send it to everyone, did I? Oh my god!
No, I hit reply all to the whole.
Never going to hear the end of this.
But I can't imagine if that was the first introduction we had to what this movie was going to be. It was just like a transmission from the Emperor, and then that's it. I mean, I feel like there was opportunity to do stuff like that.
Just like start a regular Disney commercial for something and then interrupt it like he hacks into the broadcast.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
like
Tony Daniels would do it. Tony Daniels would like say, "Oh, we found a new message." You can see it in theaters this December.
It's actually the most Star Wars thing ever. That's like classic late 70s Star Wars stuff right there.
I was thinking more of you run a commercial for like, Mulan, now it's snow and bust in, and all of a sudden it's like the the Max Headroom guy who broke into the TV signal, that kind of a thing, where it's just like Palpatine being like, attention, citizens of the universe.
You got to really stick the landing, though. Once you decide you're going to do it, you're like, what's it look like when a dead emperor?
I love the idea of, is it Ian McDermott? Is that his last name?
Sure, yeah.
Just like him being in front of a green screen at Lucasfilm, and there's all these different prompts, like, attention, NBA playoff viewers, attention.
Totally.
And he's got a basketball.
Amazing. That's amazing. He's having prompter trouble. He's like, roll that one back. I need to take that one again. Slow it down.
It's like Casey Kasem with the long distance dedication. He's getting all mad.
Oh, I love that.
Anything else for minute 31 of The Rise of Skywalker?
Oh, I do really like BB-8 spinning without going anywhere in the coffee grounds. Kind of metaphor for life.
Yeah.
True.
Spinning my wheels, not going anywhere, but at least I've got coffee.
It's a very powerful magnet he has between his body and his head. I'll give you that. Give him that. Yeah.
Yeah, that would have been a good opportunity to have. I guess you wouldn't be able to tell if the ball went down, but his head was still on top.
Oh my God. That
takes off like a flying saucer.
Becomes like batteries not included, that thing. It just starts hovering around.
Just flies away.
Separate the salsa section.
And the little aliens in there like, finally, we're free.
All right, I guess that will wrap up minute 31. You guys willing to come back tomorrow?
Oh, yeah.
You got to find out what happens with the snake business that's coming up. So.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, snake.
Oh, yeah.
I was thinking snap, and then you said snake, and I thought Snape, and I was like, wait a minute. Although, we'll get there.
Snape.
I can't wait.
Snap.
We got to find out what that guy says at the end of his sentence. So we got to.
Oh, that's right. That's right. Don't forget.
Snap actually says, this is.
This doesn't say this is gonna be?
No, this is.
This is.
Okay.
This is.
Okay. So today's plug is going to be for Don't Stop or We'll Die. They are the cool band who has provided us with this season's closing theme. So everyone's enjoying the Babu Frick song. You can find Don't Stop or We'll Die on all the major digital music platforms, and they probably have CDs too. They seem like the kind of people who would have CDs, right? Vinyl. Yeah, they totally seem like vinyl guys. Maybe not even CDs. But anyway, Don't Stop or We'll Die, and check us out tomorrow with another Star Wars Minute.
Star Wars Minute.